a butter bar lieutenant lost on the land nav course. Are you finally ready to plant your flag and claim your territory? Maybe it's time to use that VA loan to buy a home. Or hell, maybe you're looking to refinance and put some extra cash in your pocket for more questionable life decisions. Either way, the Veterans Mortgage Source, powered by Canopy Mortgage, has your six. Look, buying a home or refinancing can feel like getting overrun on a bad op. Chaotic, confusing, and full of obstacles that make no damn sense. That's where Corey and his team come in. They're like the QRF of home loans, ready to pull you out of the chaos and guide you to the best program for you. And trust me, they'll answer all your questions. Yeah, even the dumb ones. Whether you're a salty vet or fresh out of barracks still trying to figure out where your TA-50 went. Great service, solid rates, and a team that actually understands the military life. That's why all of us here at Veteran Trash Talk trust them to do right by every veteran and their family. Ready to lock it in? Give Corey a call or shoot him a text at 808-699-7874. That's 808-699-7874. Don't wait. Unless you like overpaying and getting treated like an FNG. The Veterans Mortgage Source is powered by Canopy Mortgage, LLC. All loans are subject to credit and property approval.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope everyone's having a great Wednesday. I'm tired. I'll get into that here in a minute. As you can see, I am back in Italy. I'm super happy to be back home. There's lots of things going on in my life. Got Lloyd in the background. He's playing with his friend Spencer, who used to live out here, but he lives in Hawaii now. So they're playing the video game. So if you catch a little voice in the background, I'm not going to try to interrupt him because that is how Lloyd stays in contact with his friends. And so that's super cool. But hey, with that, before I jump into everything, you got Visa Across America there on that QR code. You can scan that. It's really amazing what they do during the holiday season, how they memorialize the veterans. For those $10, $15, you can donate money. And if you have a family member or a friend and you want to memorialize it or put it in their name, you can absolutely do that. Just scan that QR code, go to their website. They'll help you out. I'm wearing my 10th Mountain shirt, T-shirt today. Lloyd had baseball practice. I'll get into that in a minute. I'll talk about that in a second. But hey, 10th Mountain's pretty great. I did bring back the boxes of cordials. They have cordials now. How do you realize that? Super easy to travel with. And so I bought a bunch of boxes of those, and it makes it easy to give to my Italian friends because, they love the 10th Mountain whiskey. They love the cordials, the little airplane bottles I'm talking about. And so give them a look, see, go out there, look at them. They got really great bourbon. I probably will have one after I finish the podcast tonight, then go to bed, because I will get into that something more about what Crude Told You Vita is doing. But hey, you watched the video before, and this is very important. I want you to pay attention to this. Hey, Brian, how you doing? Veterans Mortgage, powered by Canopy Mortgage. Interest rates are coming down. Maybe looking at, buying a home. Of course, I was in Virginia working on my house after the renters trashed my place. Once again, I'll get into that again a little bit later. But hey, maybe you want to refinance your home. Maybe you want to finally use that VA loan that you're absolutely entitled to. Any questions about your mortgages? It's very important to be very knowledgeable about that, and they will help you with any questions you may or may have. And that's Veterans Mortgage, powered by Canopy Mortgage. So scan that QR code. Ask me any questions you have. What does it cost you anything to ask a question? Questions are free. You may or may not like the answer, but hey, questions are free. Hey, with that, you have PCS Paradise. If you're going to Hawaii, like Spencer is, who Lloyd's playing with, in fact, that's one of the families that PCS Paradise helped find a home in Hawayi. They're supposed to go to Germany, and they got shipped to Hawaii. So hey, if you're still active duty member and you're being stationed in Hawaii, scan that QR code to PCS Paradise to be more than happy to find your dream home while you're there in Hawaii, from while you're stationed there. So made it around the horn, and I'm back in Italy. So happy to be back. I truly love Italy. Don't get me wrong. I love the United States. I love what's going on with the World Cup. Who else has been watching all the videos of the Britons and the Scottish and everybody who's had so many negative things and heard so many negative things about America, and then they come to America and they find out that it was all lies and it wasn't true. And it's really amazing to see. It's amazing to hear them talk about the patriotic of Americans and how welcoming we are, and how, for years they lied, oh, Americans don't have culture, they're stupid, they have all this other stuff. And now they're finding out that's not true. They're finding out that our stadiums have more money than most of the GDPs that we built in the States. And, trying barbecue, I know here in Italy, they love the barbecue and I make it. Sorry, my foot itch. And so it's really nice that they're able to travel around America and experience American culture and realize that Americans are a very beautiful country. American people, and true and to themselves, to myself, are very caring and giving people. And so it's just great to see all that. It's great to see everybody having a great time, right? In the core of it, in the core sports, that's what it's supposed to be like, right? Like-minded people come together. Yeah, you might be for that team, I might be for this team. But we can laugh and joke and play around and then get drunk. I mean, they drunk Boston dry, the Scots did, and now they're down, I think they're down in Hawaii or Miami now, or Florida. And so it's just really amazing to see, and it's great to see. And I really love watching all the videos of them going to Buc-ee's and they're trying to barbecue for the first time. The funny thing is when they're driving in the big vehicles, right? I was watching one video for a Burton guy, and he just couldn't believe how big the vehicle was, and how comfortable it was, and how spacious the highways was. And then he's like, and I got this cold air that's blowing up my butt, right? Air conditioner seats. I could use them right now in Italy right now because it's hot. But so it's just amazing to see that they get to experience a lot of the American culture. And guess what? July 4th is coming up. It's going to be the 250th anniversary of America. What are they going to see, right? They've never seen that before. He said, you ain't never seen nothing until you've been around the redneck during the 4th of July. You want to see some fireworks. You want to go see some beer drinking. Probably a little more moonshine coming out of there. It's going to be a good time. Lloyd, keep it down. Or you're going to come over here and get on this podcast. So, keep that in mind. And so it's going to be great to see. I can't wait till the 4th comes around. So super excited about that. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm tired. I'm going to ramble on, but there's a couple of things I really need to get into, and it's very important. But before that, if you saw my post, Lloyd is no longer playing for the American baseball team. Their season's over with anyway, the CYP. They played the Caserta team, which is a town close to here. And the coach saw how well Lloyd played. And so Lloyd went, by the invite of the coach, went and kind of had a tryout, and they've accepted him on the team. And so they practiced Monday, Wednesday, Fridays for 2.5 hours. They had a scrimmage game today. Sunday, they traveled 2 hours for a baseball match. And then next week, we're going to Fano, which I've never been to Fano, Italy. It seems very beautiful. It's right there by the beach. It's up on the Adriatic Sea, 4 hours north of here. So we're going to travel to Fano on July 2nd. And Lloyd's got a doubleheader on Friday, a doubleheader on Saturday, and then they have the championship rounds on Sunday. So he's got a full weekend of baseball. It's really great to see. Lloyd's super excited about it. He's making Italian friends. Most important part of all that, you guys know I've been taking Italian lessons, but I've never been truly immersed in the Italian. I have some with Pepe and other things, but like my phone's blown up all day today because I'm now in the group text messages. None of them speak English. And so it's really forced me to start speaking Italian with them. And they know that I'm learning Italian. They don't know, and so if I make a mistake, they correct me, which is great. The best thing that I think for me that I've done since leaving America and coming here to Italy is trying to learn a new language. Because I think with my TBI and everything that I've gone on with my PTSD and stuff like this, it's really rewired my brain. And when you learn something new, when you've had an injury or you've had trauma, it really has a positive effect on your mental being. And so I think forcing myself to learn the Italian language has really helped rewire my brain. And it's interesting how, you study, and then all of a sudden stuff starts clicking. Right now, you're sitting here and you understand 10% of the conversation. Now you understand 30%. Now you understand 50%. Now you understand the whole conversation. And now, for me, it's not responding with one or two words. It's me responding with full sentences. And so that's really what I've been pushing myself to do. And so, if you're an older guy, I'm an old guy. You're never too old to learn something, whether it's a language or whatever else, and it can really help and be very positive on you. Because this is mental health, Men's Mental Health Month. And so, try something new. Try to learn the language. Try to do anything. Don't stay in the rut, right? We talk about this all the time. It's hard to stay in the rut. It's easy to stay in your rut, but you want to get out of that rut. Pull yourself out of it and go do something different. If you haven't celebrated 4th of July, I encourage you to go and do something. If you haven't talked to that old buddy or friend, reach out to him, talk to him. But I'm going to jump into something here. Might be a little controversial. I'm going to take a drink of my water. Yes, I'm drinking out of my brass cup. Not brass, copper cup, sorry. So, hey, what the heck's going on with the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C.? With these lunatics going in there, cutting the liner and celebrating algae and all stuff. The Trump derangement syndrome just blows my mind. I don't understand why somebody would want to destroy something because somebody else fixed it. And so they're so hell-bent on destroying things that they're actually going out there and yelling or talking to the algae and wishing it to grow and cutting the lining and doing all these things. And as a veteran, it's upsetting. And as a proud American, even though I live in Italy, I'm still a proud American. It's very strange to see them constantly doing these things. And I think they're doing it because for years and years and years, they got away with it. There's no consequences to their actions, right? If you grew up as Gen X like I did, we had consequences to our actions, right? If your parents said, you do A and B, C is going to happen, right? There's no gray area, right? With my kids, the same way. I don't have a gray area. They do what they're supposed to be doing or they know what's going to happen. But if you constantly do things, you don't have no punishment for it or no, I don't have to follow the law because it doesn't count to me, and they constantly do those things. It is happy to see that they're prosecuting these people. Maybe it'll stop. I've said for years and years and years, people who goof up on airplanes, right? I was aviation for a long time. But people who, act a fool on an airplane, you get drunk or you, make a scene because you're mad or pissed off because your seat didn't sign, or you're sitting next to somebody you don't want to see or whatever, right? And the plane has to go back to the gate or the plane has to make an emergency landing or something like that. If they start charging those people for the price of the fuel to turn that plane back around, I think people will take a second before they start doing stupid shit. I really do. Because, hey, wait a second. You know how much fuel it costs to fuel a plane? And now you caused it to divert because you're acting a fool? And now the airlines can take you to court and sue you or whatever, and maybe they put in the fine print on your ticket. And then next thing you know, you got a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 bill because you decided to act like a fool. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the people who are going out there and destroying national monuments to be prosecuted for the extent of the law. I'm perfectly fine with that. But deep down in the root of it, do they have some mental disorder? I mean, you didn't do that when other presidents were there. You didn't do that before. But now because it was fixed, you're hell-bent on destroying it. And then you find out the FBI busted, I don't know, some lad that Antifa had or whatever, and they had all these things where they're going to go out and destroy other monuments. It's just really sad. All the positive things going on and all the things you're seeing around the world, and there's a lot going on. Sadly, here in Italy, there's some things politically going on. But they're coming up on elections, so I'm sure the Italians will adjust as they need to. But really, I mean, do you guys understand that? I mean, do you get why would you want to go and something that was made beautiful destroy it? I don't get that. Does something being beautiful give you pain? Are you in that much of a mental health problem that you just want to destroy something because you can't handle it? Right? I get that. I mean, I understand that. I've been in bad places mentally. Sure, some people not has been in bad places mentally. Do you ever want to go out and destroy something? Not, I mean, I did for sometimes for fun. I mean, you go out and when we were kids, we would have crash up derbies out in the field, or we'd go tear up an old car or something like that. But I would never think about destroying a national monument. I don't care if it was a Democrat or Republican the president. What does that matter? That's your country. That's your history. That's something you should be proud of. I just don't understand why they're constantly doing it. But I think part of it too is there's never consequences. I think there's gonna be consequences now, but I think in the past there wasn't. And I wonder if that's why they continue to do it, and that's why they mean. Of course, we know with Doge and things they found, a lot of the money that was funding all these things had dried up. And I don't know, maybe there's still some money floating around there and they're paying them. I have no idea. But anyway, enough of that. I just wanted to jump on that because I've been seeing news reports, come across my phone that they would cut 175 foot of the new liner they put down. And then they would dump in some, phosphate things to get the algae to grow. And then CNN shows up to test the water and says, I mean, do they think we're that stupid that we just can't see these things going on? And now you're going to try to say that he didn't fix it. He just wasted money. I'm talking about President Trump. I mean, we're not that stupid anymore. You don't control everything. We see. We look. We're smart enough. We get it, right? Our eyes are open now. And I think COVID changed a lot of that. And I think people forget that. People can say whatever they want about it, COVID. And then you see the Fauci reports that came out with Tulsi Gabbard, who just left his DNI when what she released. And then they buried that deep down the news cycle. And that's important stuff. So, yeah, exactly, Brian. And then there was some little duck that supposedly I don't know, allegedly somebody killed doing the pond, and they tried to blame the algae or whatever they were doing with killing. I don't know. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on. I don't get it, don't understand it. Hopefully they'll stop it. And I think once they start prosecuting them to every laws that most law-abiding citizens have to follow, I think you'll see that kind of come to an end. Sadly, some people are going to ruin their whole careers, but hey, you know what? If you're a big boy or a big girl and you're going to make those choices and no decisions, then you should be able to live with the repercussions. No different than my 11-year-old. If he makes a bad decision, he's got to live with his repercussions of it, right? Same thing with me as a grown-ass adult. If I decide to go do something and it's not really what I'm supposed to be doing, and I get caught and get in trouble, that's my own fault. I have nobody to blame myself. It's just the same with your mental health. I get it, right? I get you can have issues and problems, and you can have trauma, and you can have all these things going on in your life constantly, right? We all do. It's life. But at some point, you have to own up to it and say, I'm either going to continue this way or I'm going to change and decide to go a different way, right? That's a hard thing to do. But it can't always be somebody else's fault, right? Oh my God, I got friends like that. Do you got friends like that? That everything is always somebody else's fault and it's never their fault. Okay, well, you constantly get in trouble because you can't keep your mouth shut or you don't know how to properly argue, but it's always their fault, or you can't get on time to go to work, or you fail many drug tests, and oh, by the way, it's somebody else's fault, or maybe you're out drinking too much and when you're flying an airplane, you have mandatory crew rest, right? Mandatory, hey, you got to stop drinking 12 hours before you get back on that plane. And you don't adhere to the rules, and then you land and they pop you for a piss test. Who do you got to blame? It's all why I wasn't watching the time. It's the time zone. That's all excuse. It's your fault. It's your flipping fault. Own up to it and say, yeah, I messed up. I screwed up. I should have did that. That's the problem. And I think for a lot of times, and I think society's changing, but when I was growing up, you owned up to it. You man up to it, right? If you did something wrong or something you weren't supposed to, and your dad come in and say, hey, did you do this and that? First of all, you better not lie to him because he already knows that you did it. And you know that he knows that you did it. And then at that point, you knew you couldn't lie your way out of it. So you might as well just fess up to it, right? You get more trouble if you don't. And so I truly hope that the consequences will happen for those people who are going out there and who's destroying the monuments. You think it's okay to go and do that? I think it's very sad. I think I don't condone violence, but it always seems like one side is doing that. And it's right? Like if you've done taekwondo, if you've done any type of sports, just because you can handle somebody or you can beat somebody up doesn't mean you should, right? Now, if you're protecting yourself or something else going on, that's completely different. You know, 9 times out of 10, I will walk away from a fight instead of being in a fight, right? Because I know I can take the other person, or I know what's going to happen. And it's just ridiculous to do that. Now, younger, I didn't do that because it was stupid. But sometimes it's okay to do that. But so I just truly hope that that stops the consequences because the World Cup has been such a great thing. The World Cup, I think, for all the people who trashed Americans, said they were a trash society, they said that for years, right? Europe always said Europe's more sophisticated and they're more this, and we're just a bunch of hilly bumpkins who run around with guns. It's not safe and everything. And they find out it's not true. And it's great to see. And what's best to see is that people are coming together. They're learning about a new culture, right? Just like me coming to Italy, I learned a new culture. And it seems like that the world is going to start healing because now when Americans go to Scotland or they go to Britain or they go to these other places, they're going to remember that, hey, America gave us good hospitality. They're like, hey, you can walk into a bar and next thing you know, it's going to be 3 a.m. You can be rolling out there with the Scots, right? Probably what happened. Or the Irish, if you go to Ireland, I'm telling you, they're going to remember it. And what a great thing to happen worldwide to bring peace and a little bit of joy in a world that's been so chaotic and idiotic forever. And not to mention, Americans learn about football or soccer. And then Europe learns about soccer, which is football or football soccer. And what the funny thing is, not funny, but when they go out and they go to the different states, right? And so a lot of people say, oh, Europe's so great because you can go to Italy, you can go to Germany, Slovakia, whatever, right? You can travel to many different countries. But what the Europeans are finding out now is that if you go to Missouri or if you go to Florida or you go to Georgia or you go to Washington State or California or Arizona or North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, every state's like a different country. They all have the different cultures. They all have the different food, culinary things. It could be similar, but they're very different. I mean, look at the difference between Kansas City barbecue, North Carolina barbecue, and Texas barbecue, right? It's all different. Same thing. And so they're learning that. And not to mention, in America, you have all kinds of different geography things you can see. Go see the Grand Canyon. You can go to the mountains. You can go to the ocean. There's many, many different things you can see in America. And for, I think, a lot of Europeans, they didn't realize that. They didn't realize how big America is and how much space it has. And they say, oh, well, why don't you guys have public transportation? Why don't you guys, take the bus or take the train or do this or do that? They didn't realize. But now, since the World Cup, now they see with their own eyes. They touch it. They understand now why we have the big highways, we have the big trucks. We drive and we are the way we are because we're big. Our country's big. It's huge. It's just how we are. It's the way it's got to be. But when you come to Europe, it's a little bit different. And so you drive the smaller cars because you just can't physically park them. But the streets are thousands of years old. I mean, the streets are very narrow. So you couldn't drive a big vehicle down there. So you have to have a small vehicle. And so you learn that when you come and live in Italy. Well, if you've never been to America, or your idea of America is only what you see in movies, when you see it in real life, it's completely different. And it's really changed the world view on America. And I think it's great. I think it's great. And I think it's great to see people come together. I think it's very happy. And I think that for all the negativity that we've seen for many, many, many years, how they tried to divide everybody in the world, how they always tried to keep, Russia's bad, America's bad, whoever, bad, good, whatever. I think the World Cup's going to go a long way to make people realize that powers to be are trying to always keep us fighting so we don't pay attention to what's going on. And I think they're losing that narrative, and I hope to God they are. And so I think it's a good thing. I just want to talk about that. I wish Italy would have been made in the World Cup. I think that would have been great. I would have loved it. I did buy my Italian friends, especially Pepe and his family, the World Cup Kansas City shirts. So I gave it to them, and also Antonio and Claudio kind I bought them shirts. And of course, I gave them the cordial whiskey. But Mimo, you don't know who Mimo is? Mimo is the butcher they get all my meat from. I mean, this guy has an amazing butcher shop, and he raises all the animals that he kills, and in his shop that he kills. He has his own farm. And we're going to go out and visit his farm one day. I'm just too busy with Lloyd right now, but can only go on Sunday. It's the only day off. So we're going to go one day. We're going to plan to go visit his farm, and I'm going to take photos and videos of it, and I'll have a podcast about it. But he showed me pictures of his cows and his pigs. The animals are so clean, and they look so happy, and he's so proud of what he's built and his heritage and all that. And it's funny because Pepe said, I've been coming here for 30 years, and Mimo never invited me to his farm. So Pepe and his family will go with us when we go. But Mimo's big into barbecue. He's been dabbing in barbecue a lot. And so I went to the barbecue museum there in Kansas City, and I bought him, some of the better barbecue sauce and the traditional ones like Gates and Masterpiece. The ones that have been around for a while. It's kind of commercialized, but those are the ones that people recognize, and they were in the museum. And so I bought a couple of bottles of those. And then I made him some barbecue ribs, some barbecue beans, and I brought it into the shop on Tuesday after I got back from the States for him to try. And he said he was very surprised how good. But then I made my own barbecue sauce. And so he had the ones from the museum, and then he had the ones that I make here in Italy, my own barbecue sauce, which he loved, by the way. So that's good. So it's knowing the culture through food, right? And so everybody that's in the States is learning about our food culture, right? You see him at Buc-ee's, you see him eating brisket and burnt ends and chickens and waffles and all those things. Sadly, it's still got poison in it. We need to fix that. But they're getting a taste of it. And so, hey, come here. So I think, these Europeans are getting addicted to ranch dressing. And, with crude dolce vita, I could be, I could buy some ranch dressing, if you listen out there and you want to get your fix in, I could put a lot of ranch dressing in my van. I could hustle it across the border. Maybe it's a side hustle I might do. I don't know. I said, what are you in for? Bootlegging ranch. That's what I'm starting doing, bootlegging ranch dressing. Because they love ranch dressing. TSA put a notice out to them about carrying the bottles and stuff. And so that is kind of funny that how much they love ranch dressing. They want to put it on everything. So they give us crap for so many years, right? About us putting ranch dressing on stuff, and then they taste it. And then that's kind of the gateway drug, right? You get the ranch dressing, you get the barbecue sauces, right? You get the big gas stations, you get the big drinks, you get the free refills, you get the ice. Oh, and we're in a big heat wave here in Europe. And what don't they usually have in Europe that they use? Air conditioning. Oh, and they're loving the air conditioning in the States. Then when they go back home, they're going to be wondering, well, why don't we have air conditioning here? Or what? Why don't we use it? There's a big misconception here in Italy that if you use air conditioning, you'll get sick. And we got oil on right now in our house, and we don't get sick. And I think they're finding that out. So it's kind of funny to see all that. But the best way to get to know a culture is through the food. And they're seeing that and they're learning that. And now they're questioning everything and having a good time to boot. And so it's great. It's so fun to see. And if you haven't watched any of the World Cup, I would employ you. When I was in Virginia working on my house, I worked many, many hours to fix that house and the piece of shit renters I had. And sorry for my French, but I spent 2 weeks extra in Virginia to fix that. And it doesn't matter what people pay for a house. There's still POSs out there who are doing things not according to the leash. But it's okay. I had an ironclad leash. I had photos before and after. And so if he doesn't agree to pay the damages, we'll wind up in court. No problem. Anybody else in court. I have no problem going to court. When you go against your lease of the house, it's not right. Every time I rented a house, I gave it back better condition what it was when I moved into it. Just how it was. You always take care of stuff. I don't get that. But anyway, I got the house all fixed. It's all done. Had to wind up repainting the whole house and fixing a whole bunch of crap. It wasn't nothing really major, but they were just really, really, really dirty. And like every single wall had fingerprints or food stains on it, or like they were playing dodgeball and they were throwing the balls against the walls everywhere in the house. And then you think if you spilt coffee on a wall, you would wipe it up? No, they didn't. It's stuff like that, right? Really irritating stuff. But I got it all fixed. My mental health's a little bit better. Body's still recovering. Because I know that there was 1 week from Monday to Saturday, just inside my house, I did 100,000 steps. That's about 25,000 steps a day just inside my house, painting, fixing, doing things. Never left the house unless I went to go eat dinner. And most times I only ate one meal a day because I'd forget to eat because I get so focused on fixing stuff. A lot of that has to do with my TBI, but I deal with that. But that's a good thing, right? But they put like glue on the fireplace mantle, and then they had paint on the, also on the bottom part of the mantle of the fireplace. It was just another mess. But I got it all fixed, and I kept myself focused, and I really felt accomplished in doing that. Super happy to be back in Virginia. I was talking about Crudo Civita a little bit ago. Crudo Civita is the touring company that Pep and I started this year. It's been kind of slow, but with any new business, it's that way. But here in Italy, and it's one of the reasons why I'm tired, I'm going to jump into that right now, is, when you PCS, it's a very stressful time, right? Anybody who's ever been in the military, anybody who's ever moved in the military know that PCS season is extremely stressful. They come, they take all your household goods, you have all these bags you gotta fly with, you have to get transportation to the airport. In the States, it's easy. In Italy, it's been a problem because if you're on base, a lot of the towing companies don't have access to the base. And so just like today, I went and picked up a family. They live down in Lago Patria, which is about 18 miles from here. That's actually where we're moving to next week. I'll get into that. But they had 21 bags they put in my van. A little Renault van I had. I put the back seat. I stacked 21 bags in that, plus a husband, a wife, a teenage daughter, and two dogs, and took them to the airport. And then once we got to the airport, I helped them get their stuff inside. Now, if you had and I'm not dinging the Italian drivers, I'm just saying they don't understand that when you say I'm going to pick somebody up, take them to the airport, because they're PCSing, because they don't understand what that entails and how many bags. That was a record. Usually it's about 12 or 15 bags I'm taking. And so I got up at 4:30 this morning, did that, and then Lloyd has baseball practice. So Crudo Dolce Vita now is making runs to airports both to Naples and Rome. And tomorrow morning, although it's 11:20 now, and I got to get up early tomorrow morning because I got to make a run to Rome for the same way. Other people PCS in Rome, they couldn't find a ride, didn't know what they were going to do. So Crudo Dolce Vita is picking up the slack, and we're going to start helping families get their stuff loaded up. Good, reliable transportation. We will show up on time, and we'll get you to the airport because we know how stressful that is. And that's just something that I started doing Crudo Civita because not only does it help them, it also helps me mentally. Like today, when we finally got that family to the airport, we unloaded the bags, and I helped them take everything inside the airport, because they were, it was 21 bags. I mean, duffel bags, big bags. They weighed 50, 60, 70 pounds, these bags. And, I just didn't drop them off the airport. I helped them pick all their stuff in, get in line, and just make sure they're all situated before I left. And the wife was she just broke down and she was crying. She gave me a big hug and said, thank you, and all this other stuff. And it felt really good because you know how it is, right? You're so ramped up, you're PCS and you're moving. And then all of a sudden, at this moment, when they take those bags away, you can breathe. And I think for a while, because she said they packed her out early May. So she's been living in this transit place for, 30, 40, 50 days, that you can finally breathe and say, it's over. And to me, that was satisfying. And so it's something that we're doing new with Crudo Civita. We're still doing the tours of Naples, still doing customized tours. We started in with a shopping tour. If you want to come to Naples and go shopping, we will take you around to the different, depending on what you want to shop for, depends on where we take you. We're starting that too. So hopefully things will pick up for us. But right now, super excited about Lloyd and playing with the Caserta Reggae baseball team. He's doing really well with that. He does have a very strong arm, and he has a very accurate throw. The coach asked him if he wants to be a pitcher. Lloyd doesn't know about that. But I talked to Lloyd and said, hey, you might as well give it a shot, right? It doesn't hurt to try something new, something I just talked about, right? Try something new. And so it's just trying to help and give back to the community. It's the same thing we do with the seniors, the same thing Veterans Trash Talk does with all of the things they do with the Mental Health Warrior, with the Veterans Trash Talk show on Saturday, and all the things that everybody else does out there just to try to help people out. And I'm retired, and yeah, getting up at 4:30. I forgot what 4:30 looks like. But you know what? Both my runs just took me less than 2 hours to do. And what's that? That's nothing. I got the rest of the day. But it does help kudo to Vita and does help out families out there. And I know we're going to have some more runs coming up. So that's important. Next week, there won't be a show. I talked with Chris early on today because our villa is finished. And so we're moving to Lago Patria. The move will show up Monday to pack this out here on support site. So you no longer see this scene. I could put my green screen up, but I've been extremely lazy lately. But at our new villa that has a swimming pool that I can sit on the second deck and look at the ocean, I'll have my podcast room back. So I'll have a certain room dedicated for the podcast. I'm super excited. I have nothing bad to say about living on support site. Living on the space has been wonderful. But it's time to move on and go on to the second phase of our life as we start transitioning ourselves to being here more. And as Lloyd and everybody gets more entrenched into the Italian society, and you find out really how down to earth, and just like in the small town that I grew up in, how passionate the Italians are about every single thing they do. And, it's just watching with the Little League and how passionate the coach is, and how really they try to make it the best they can with what little bit they have. So it's really great to see. But we are moving. Super excited about that. I'm ready to get into the new house. It's about the size of the house in Virginia we're selling. So it's a big villa. And it has a very big swimming pool. And so we're excited about that. Lloyd's excited about that. That was one of the rules they had. I have a big garage. And you say, well, what are you going to do with that big garage? Well, you know what I'm going to do with that big garage? Because of the green Mustangs getting shipped out here. Shipping the Mustang out here. That's another thing I did while I was down at Tom's house. When I was driving the Mustang around and everything. He's got power of attorney. And so once we sign the lease on 1 July, I'm going to go to the moving office. I'm going to put in my movement for my retirement orders. And I'm going to start working on the process of getting the Mustang shipped out here, because I'm going to have a lot of work done on it, because you can find master technicians out here. Sadly, you can't find that in the States anymore. That's why Tom had me painting his hood, which it turned out pretty good. Because, I used to be a car painter years and years ago. But it helped him out, and I told him he could color sand to get some of the orange peel out of it. But that wasn't totally my fault. His air compressor kind of crapped out on me while I was painting, so it happens. But hey, listen, if you're dealing with summertime, it's hot outside, it's hot here. One thing Lloyd and I did is, a lot of people out there drink Gatorade. Gatorade's horrible for you. It's got a lot of bad dyes, a lot of chemicals in it, a lot of bad stuff. We started making our own Gatorade. And so I have a YouTube video out there. You can go to my YouTube page. Or my Facebook, because I posted on Facebook too. But me and Lloyd made a homemade lemonade or Gatorade. It tastes really awesome. There's not too many ingredients in it. It's coconut water, filtered water, but we use distilled water, honey, salt. What else is in there, Lloyd? What am I missing? Oh, he's gonna go grab the recipe for me. What do we else have we have in there? Thank you, sir. It had, let's see, lemons. Yeah, so yeah, coconut water, lemons or limes or both, salt, and then honey. And then you kind of do it to taste. So it's like 2 cups of water, 2 cups of coconut water, 2 lemons, or 2 lemons, or 1 lemon, 1 lime. Have everyone do the flavor with lemon and limes, and then an eighth or a quarter teaspoon of salt. We put a half in because we made a big batch. And then honey, unfiltered honey. Mix it all up, set it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes, and it tastes just like the old Gatorade. It's really amazing. And so we made a big picture of it. I've been drinking it. It's really great. Love it. And so, if it's really hot outside, and, if you want to hydrate yourself properly, look that up. Or if you don't want to use my recipe, you can use many recipes out there on the internet. But try it. I'm telling you what, you're going to love it. But hey, I'm going to wrap this up. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show today. I don't understand the Trump derangement syndrome. I really, really don't. I don't understand why people think it's okay to go out and destroy the memorial reflecting pool out there, the Lincoln Memorial, and what that stands for, and all the history there. Why would you want to destroy something else? I just can't wrap my mind around it, right? But I'm hoping the people that did it and they got them on film, so they know. So right, they got them on film. Well, we know they do. So I'm hoping that their actions comes with consequences, and hope anybody out there who destroys any national monuments out there gets it fully sent to the law. That's my own personal opinions, but I think it's the way it should be. But hey, with that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. You can scan that QR code up there for Reads Across America. For those $10, $15, $20, you can make a donation to where they how they memorialize the veterans during the holiday season. And so if they out, I'm still in Arlington, so they, if you just donate, it's going to go to Arlington, unless you specify for it to go to some other cemetery. So please keep that in mind. But I didn't mention it early on, but I'm going to wait till the end of the show. And that's at the end of the show. Reads Across America Radio replays my podcast Fridays at 8 p.m., but they have their own app now. So you can download the Reads Across America Radio app, and then it's already on your phone. You don't have to search for nothing. You don't have to look for anything. They play great music. They have a lot of great podcasts. I do have a great article coming out in September that I wrote. I got to go and review what she wrote on it. I'll talk about that more later on. But hey, it's great to see. But you know what? If you still have the iHeartRadio app, or if you have your TuneIn app or the Odyssey app on your phone, it's okay. It's okay. Just search for Reese, and Reese Across America Radio will come up, and you can still listen to it that way. And if you're going to listen to it, you might as well download that. What's one more app on your phone? I got 2,500 on mine. 2,350 of them are Lloyd's, but the other 50 are mine because Lloyd downloads a million games on my phone. But he's staying over there looking all innocent there on the love sack right there. That's Lloyd. But hey, with that, I got 10th Mountain Whiskey. I talked about them earlier. I am probably going to have a little whiskey before I go to bed. Today, I got their T-shirt on. I did wear it to Lloyd's baseball practice. The Italians love that whiskey. Give them a look-see. Use the code VTT to save a little money. I'm telling you what, their cordial is amazing with sage and vanilla and something else in, I forget. But their bourbon that they have, that's what I'm drinking tonight. The bourbon is really amazing. Try them out. I'm telling you what, you will not be disappointed. And I talk about it a lot. They've been a long-term sponsor of Veterans Trash Talk. Okay. Chris just popped in. So it's sage-infused peach vanilla bourbon. Sage-infused peach vanilla bourbon. It's so freaking good. I mean, like, I talked about ranch earlier and how the Europeans are addicted to ranch dressing. Like, the Italians out here are getting addicted to that cordial, right? That's what they want. And that's why I bought the little airplane bottles, because it's better than buying a big bottle. They absolutely love it. So give them a look, see, give them a try. I'm telling you what, you won't be disappointed. 4th of July is coming up. Maybe get your order in now today. They get it to your house. You can rush ship it. I'm sure they'll try. But hey, with Veterans Mortgage, I talked about that earlier. If you saw the video powered by Canopy Mortgage, you know what? If you haven't used a VA loan, shame on you. You should be using it. If you bought a mortgage when interest rates are high, interest rates are coming down, you don't even have to drop very many points to save a lot of money. Or maybe you have questions or concerns about your existing mortgage. They'll be more than happy to answer any of those questions you have. And I don't think you're limited. I think they do it nationwide. And so don't worry about it if you live in a different state from where they're located at. They'll be more than happy to help you. And PCS to Paradise, if you're still an active duty member and you're being stationed in Hawaii, scan that QR code and they will help you find the place you want to live in while you're there. Like I said, they did the family who Lloyd's talking to you right now. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please throw comments down there if you have any comments or questions or any suggestions for show. There will not be a show next week. Well, I won't say that. I did order Starlink. So the Starlink comes in and I get everything set up. Wednesday, we'll put a big question mark. Maybe there's a show at the new house, the new Bauman Villa in Italy. But hey, thanks for tuning in today, Brian. Thanks for having us timing in. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Brian stuff because I've never met him in person, but him and I talk a lot sometimes on Facebook Messenger and stuff. He's having a bad day. I'm having a bad day. And I just like to give a shout out to Brian for, you know what, every now and then, you're my sounding board. I know yours, but thanks for being there for me, even though I've never met you in person, but we'll have to change that one day. And so I appreciate that. But hey, with that, we are brothers and sisters keepers out there. So hey, if somebody's gone quiet or if somebody's I look like hell right now. But I got a lot of things going on. Give them a call. Ask them how they're doing. It takes 2 seconds to check up on somebody, right? Okay, so with that, you guys have a great and wonderful week. We'll maybe see you next week. If not, we'll see you a week after that. Take care. And hey, do what you got to do and do it right. And if you can't, do it loud, right? We're Americans. We like to do things loud. So do it loud. Take care, everybody. Okay, Lloyd.